Well, hello everyone and welcome to today's show. This could be a good one for you to watch. Now we're going to look to put in a thermal, right? Peerless Assassin 120. It's a dual tower or dual radiator cooler, air cooler with twin 120 fans. It's set up on the picture to do a double push. Although I don't know why you can't do a pull with it. Pulls are usually more effective. The thing is, it's offset. The coil, the rads are offset so that you can put it in where it's in high in a case or put it where it's a little lower in a case. It does have to go horizontal. A lot of different coolers. This one seems to be highly regarded online. We're going to see if we can fit it in there, because quite honestly, it's going to be tight. I measured as best I could. I already have one conflict I'm anticipating, which will be with the NVMe heatsink. It's a big giant horizontal flow. It looks like it's going to be a conflict there. I've got a separate one for that. The unit itself says that it is about 66 CFM, and it says that, so that should match up with our thermal take pure A12 exhaust that's right out but in line with it, so it should take it straight out. It should work well there if we can get rid of any conflict. But if it mounts high, it's hard to get to the clips for the fans, and if it mounts low, it's very, very close to the video card, and I can't access the drive there. And if I put it in a push standpoint, it's going to conflict with the height of the drum sticks that are in there, and I can't get to the A bank. Won't be able to get to them without pulling the cooler. And if I put it in a pull situation, I have a fan that sits on top of the I/O shield that's right there. So it's just fiddly. What do you say we watch it and see how it turns out? Maybe I didn't even get it in there. Here's an impromptu quickie. Now we've got the old guts, what were in this case, going in a different case because I have a roaster laptop that died. It works as the print server, so I've got to fix it. I'm going to pull this smaller cooler, this Cooler Master, out and put it in that one, if in fact the Peerless Assassin version works in this case. Now this is an ATX case, but it looks like it's going to be tight. I've measured using straight edges and tape measures, and it should fit. We're going to find out. I've taken the fan off. We're going to do those 4 screws, and then we're going to clean off the Cooler Master and the chip, because I don't want to mess up this device, this Peerless Assassin, if in fact I can't get it to close. And I don't have to necessarily mount it down to set it on the chip, and to see if we're able to clear that RAM on that side and to still clear the VRM and I/O heatsink there. And if I get down there, you can see the other VRM heatsink on the other side, but it's going to be tight, I'm afraid, but it should work if I've measured right. Is this dumb luck or is this skill? We just do fit in there as I thought it would, but I do have a problem down there at the NVMe solid state device. You see that we are in fact resting on that giant heatsink. Now that shouldn't be a problem, because I did in fact anticipate this, having measured. If I checked it out just right, and I have a different heatsink we'll use for that location. Choose the correct back plate and peel off the little self-sticky thing to hold it in place, and there you have it. Select the right bag of screws and spacers and put them on over the little hips there, right there. It's AM4 and 5 and the older 1151 I had, and 1200 sockets. So you just put those into place. Now the only sketchy part is trying to get that center hole for the LGA 1700. Now it's decision time. This is offset. The two coils are offset. This is in the up position. But if I take it, if I can do this with my good hand, and I can turn it around and put it into position, and that makes it a lot easier to get the clips on that side. I guarantee you that, because I clear the edge of that, but it puts it awfully close to the graphics card, and it completely covers up the NVMe. Also, I have the issue of, if we do a standard double push, I have to have this jacked up on top of the coil, and then it would of course go in between here exactly the same way. But I could theoretically do a pull, because oftentimes pulls are better than pushes because of the way it wants to pull the air through the coil versus force it back up into it. And that would set the other one on this side of the coil, and it would make it where I could access the memory on that side. The question is, if it's marginally worse, it won't hurt me any, and if it's getting really close to here, the difference is I won't be able to see the pretty red fan nearly as well. It's in there, and I had it started to do it as a pull, as I mentioned. The problem that I ran into was that the bearing throwout on these fairly cheap fans may hit the coil if they get wobbly. I don't know. But if I put it on this other way, I would literally have to grind off a corner of the fan to get it high enough to keep it off of physically laying on that ram socket. And I'm just not comfortable with that. We're going to try it this way, see if we got to do something else. But we did have plenty of room down there to get to our NVMe, where I hear them loading up. But you see how much edge I got past there, how high it had to be, because it's also high on this side down there at the heatsink. So this is, I don't know, you might have a bigger board for this, but it's just, that thing's sitting right on it. As you can see, at idle, we don't really have the thermal tank spinning that much. If we come around to this side, we've got the same thing, right? Because we don't really want to suck a bunch of dust in there if we don't have to. Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it. All right, well, let's see how the Peerless Assassin does on the 12700K. It is cranked up a little bit. Long duration is set at 140 watts. Short duration is set at the new Intel BIOS requirements. And we're getting ready to hit the button, and we'll watch to see how it does in a real world example. Now we could do Cinebench. Cinebench works okay. Do get a few hits over the full process of Cinebench 24 of 80s. I got Core 8 is a hot one. I may look at undervolting that particular one core if I can do that. But let's see how it does on an actual 30-minute render. Now I may speed this up because it's going to take about 7 minutes, but it'll give us a good example when we get down to the end what it's going to be like. Here we go. Okay, there we are. We are closing down. The program has run. You can see as well as I can that the hottest core we hit during that render was 61 degrees C. And we'll see how quickly we cool back down. We weren't running a full wattage on that. We did stay